Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be, you weren't supposed to figure them out. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please subscribe. So you weren't supposed to figure them out. This means you are in a narcissistic relationship, or you are out of one, or you experienced one, and the person you're thinking about, they never thought you would figure them out. You weren't supposed to get the message. Now, why I'm sharing this, and I shared it recently a few different times in recent videos, is because the narcissist, again, they believe they're smarter than you and that they know more than you and that you would not figure them out. Now, you're on the channel, you're on my channel getting the wisdom. You're coupling the wisdom I'm sharing with you with your real life experiences, and you're understanding, holy cow, yes, I was with a narcissist, I was with a toxic individual. But you weren't supposed to figure it out. Now let's zoom out for a moment and say that you were discarded, as an example. If you were discarded, that most likely was one of the most challenging days you have experienced, the day of the discard. I created a video on that a year or two ago, 2 years ago actually. And it is a very powerful video. It's a very, very powerful video. Point being is, if that was you and you were discarded and you did not know what you were up against, i.e. a narcissist, that changed your life forever. Now, when you were discarded, and I'm not trying to trigger you, I'm just letting you know, if you were, what did you do? You had to figure out rather quickly that your social circle was dismantled, that your alleged friends turned out to be flying monkeys perhaps, that your support system was nowhere to be found, that the people you reached out to explain your circumstances could not wrap their head around it. They couldn't figure out, they couldn't put together the pieces. Like, why, let's say you were married as an example, like, why did this person just up and leave? Like, what did they do? What happened? So all of these things happened, and what happened then is what you did is you had to figure out, oh my gosh, I'm on an island. I am by myself. No one understands me. I don't have anyone who speaks the same language as me, i.e. narcissistic abuse, and you didn't even have the wisdom back then, which means you did not know what narcissism was. And you weren't supposed to figure them out. And here's why. Because if you were discarded, keep this in mind. The narcissist did not give you a sheet of paper saying, this is me. I am a narcissist. I just totally hoodwinked you, fooled you, manipulated you, took all of your resources, and left you on the side of the freeway like a sheet of paper crumpled up. They're not going to do that. The next thing is, the narcissist will not give you closure. Please play that again. The narcissist is incapable of giving anybody closure. They don't want to give you closure. They don't want you to figure them out. They don't want to admit who they are. They don't want to admit that they got in the relationship under false pretenses. They don't want to admit that at their core they are hollow. There's no substance. All they are mimickers. They just take from one person, apply that to the next person, on and on and on. The next thing, if you were discarded, is you most likely were spending a lot of time alone. You were isolated on purpose, and perhaps you were self-isolating also. It could have been one or both of those, but one of those, I can assure you, was you, or it is you. The next thing I will share with you is, you now had a huge void to fill because you were discarded, and you could not figure out what to do with the time. Example, the day before you were discarded, perhaps you had a family, and you had dogs, and you had plans, and you were doing all of these things. Your day was occupied. Why? Because the narcissist made sure that you had the endless to-do list under control, which meant going to the store, putting gas in the car, planning for this, seeing teachers, walking kids to school, paying bills, all of these things. Now, that vanished with the drop of a hat when you were discarded, and what you had is a void. Now, with that time, what you had to do is you had to figure out exactly what had just happened. Now, understand this, and this is very, very important for everybody, for the newbies and for the veterans, or for people that are in the relationship right now. When this happened, you could have done one of a few things. One, you could have literally been in your house or wherever you were, struggling with what was going on, trying to figure out what that was, what kind of relationship that was, who does that, what kind of person that was. Or two, you could have just simply, I shouldn't say simply, but you could have tried your best to block it out, saying, okay, that's over, it's done, whatever, it just didn't work out. Number two was not you, I can assure you. Number one was you. You were trying to figure out what you were up against. You had not yet discovered the word narcissism, or toxic narcissistic behavior, whatever you want to call it. And what you were doing is you were literally going to work, most likely. And in the back of your mind, you were thinking about that relationship that had just imploded and what led up to the events that caused it to implode. And you couldn't wrap your head around it. All you kept doing is thinking about the past, figuring out how much you gave to the relationship, most likely to a fault, and how little this person who turned out to be the narcissist gave. And you couldn't figure it out. Why? Because they perhaps told you they loved you over and over and over again, but you noticed that it faded away, or it would only be when people would be in the room with you. It wouldn't be just the two of you. Then you noticed, wow, throughout the body of the relationship, this person could never sit still. They were always on their smartphone or doing something. That's strange, that's peculiar. I didn't really notice that before. I mean, I noticed it, but we were together, so I gave it a mulligan. The next thing you realized is how this person who turned out to be the narcissist had many alleged friends from the past. These people would just pop up. It's almost as if they were groupies to your spouse. And you're like, what is this? Who are these people? Why are they in my house? How do they know my spouse so well? Why are they calling them a pet name? Why are the two of them sitting so close together? Why are they just taking a walk outside, just the two of them, which is something that should be for an intimate relationship? In other words, with two people, not a complete stranger. But you couldn't figure these things out. The next thing you did is you added up their poor behavior. Example, they would say they'd be home at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. Well, they wouldn't get home till 10:30 or 11, claiming that they were doing work, or they got a flat tire, or that they didn't have any cell phone service, or that they had to check in on a family member. Whatever the fib and or not truth was, you bid it, you bought it. Because why? Because now the narcissist was home. And you're like, okay, I get it, it's fine, it happens. But all of these poor behaviors and a litany, a huge list of other poor behaviors were adding up over time, until one day, you most likely stood up for yourself and you said, hey, enough. I'm gonna put up a boundary. I'm not getting any attention, I'm not getting any time. My bank account is at zero. I have credit card debt up to my eyeballs. My health has taken a huge hit. I don't even have any friends anymore. I'm isolated in this house. I don't know what's going on. Then boom, the next day, your relationship has disappeared. It's dismantled, it's gone. Why? Because the narcissist was waiting for an excuse to perhaps let you go, to throw you away, to crumble you up like that sheet of paper. And that was the fuse that lit the flame that caused the relationship to end, i.e. a discard. Now, that's not the best term for the ending of a relationship when the narcissist throws somebody away, and I'm sorry to say that, but that's what happens. The point being, now we're fast forwarding. So now you're going to work right after the discard. Perhaps you took a few days off, maybe you didn't, who knows? But you're going to work and you're not functioning nearly as properly as you could and or should be, because now your mind is on the void. Now your mind is on the past relationship. Now your mind is on where the narcissist is, who they're with, what they're doing, why they did what they did to you, did they love you, did they care about you, etc. And your work is now taking a hit. But then, slowly, let's say 3 weeks after the discard, as an example, perhaps you figured out, oh my gosh, there's something wrong here. And you went to YouTube and or you went to Google or a browser, a search browser, whatever these things are called, and then you typed in something like spouse won't talk to me, or spouse picked up and left, or toxic behavior, whatever you typed in, and you landed on my channel. Right then and there was a pivotal moment in your life, whether you know it or not, because you now found the needle in the haystack. You now found out what you were up against. You now we're beginning to understand that narcissism does exist, and it's not just somebody looking at themselves in the mirror in front of a river, or in the river's reflection, whatever that thing is, you get my point. So having said that, that's when you were shocked, you were dumbfounded. Because why? Because as the thumbnail mentions, you weren't supposed to figure them out. You were supposed to be pining for the narcissist. You were supposed to be isolated in your house. You were supposed to still be going to doctors to get your medical issues looked into. You were still supposed to be not having any social circle or friends. You were supposed to not go on YouTube or Google and land on my channel. You weren't supposed to get the key that would unlock your future. They never thought you would do it. And why I'm saying that is because in the past, with other relationships from the narcissist, or whomever the other relationships they were in, perhaps these individuals don't even exist anymore. Maybe they're 6 feet under. Maybe the narcissist did such damage with those people, they're not on the planet. Again, I'm not being graphic or dramatic. I'm being real. Now, having said all these things, slowly You did the deep dive. Your work was beginning to improve. Your health was slowly getting back. You were eating a little bit. And I am not putting a time period on this. This is months and months into the discard. But you were putting yourself back together. You were understanding what you were up against. You were practicing radical acceptance. You were figuring out exactly the pieces of the puzzle. And the more pieces you connected and put together, the larger the puzzle became. In other words, you thought that the puzzle would be, let's say, 30 meters by 30 meters. Well, it turns out it's 3 million meters by 3 million meters. It's a huge puzzle. And each and every day you were getting more and more wisdom. Each and every day, more and more pieces were falling into place. Each and every day that you meditated, you journaled, you watched videos, you talked to a licensed therapist who is qualified and or has gone through, unfortunately, the narcissistic abusive cycle, you started to heal. And then you understood, wow, oh my goodness, my energy, that's what it was. They wanted my energy. The narcissist wanted my resources, which was my energy. It was my money, my love, my time, my empathy, what I provided. It wasn't me. Despite the fact they professed their love for me, they never loved me. They don't love anybody. They don't even love their own children. What they love is money and your resources and the ability to control you like a puppet master. That's what they love. They love to manipulate, decimate, discard, and hope that you never figure them out. So think about the message. You're on the channel. You've made it 11 minutes and 30 seconds into the video right now. You're one of the wise ones. You're one of the fortunate ones. You're one of the ones that will reach that pinnacle of indifference, that mountaintop of indifference, when you just don't care about the narcissist any longer. What you care about is focusing on yourself. You drowned out the flying monkeys. You leave all people associated with the narcissist in the past. There will be casualties from the relationship. You now know that. But the real truth on this planet called Earth about life, specifically with you, is your energy is vital. If you don't have your health or your energy, you have nothing. And time is the most precious commodity we have on this planet. That is my stance, and I won't change it. Why? Because you can't get time back. You can always buy a new pair of shoes, but you can't get time back. When it's gone, it's gone. Now, having said all of these things, you weren't supposed to figure them out. You weren't. And they were banking on that. And you may say, well, Andrew, how are you so certain about that? I will tell you why. Because when you first fell in love with the narcissist, as an example, when you professed those magic words, I love you, they knew they had you right then and there. And that's when they put that little grin on their face, that little snicker, and those eyes lit up like black, dark pools of emptiness. And they said to themselves, oh my gosh, it took me a few months, but I did it. I now have them. All I need to do now is say the same 3 words back to them, and it's official. Boom, they're mine. It will only be a matter of time after that, when I play this out a little bit longer, that perhaps they will ask me to marry them, and I know how the rest goes. That's what they were thinking to themselves. And guess what? That's how it unfolded. But the truth is, they never thought that you would exist. They really didn't. They wanted to keep you trapped in the narcissistic fog. They wanted your head spinning in the devaluation stage. They wanted you to continue to put up with their poor behavior. They wanted you to continue to believe in the mask. They wanted you never to figure out who they were. And the minute you figured them out, perhaps you did call them out, and by the way, I wouldn't if I were you, but let's say you did. Say you called them a narcissist. Well, now they really can let the mask slip, because they now know that you know that they know. And the whole point is that behavior most likely will either be projected back upon you, and the narcissist will say, no, you're the narcissist, what are you talking about? Or they'll say, I don't know what you mean. But what will they do? They will go research the term narcissist as soon as they possibly can, learn everything about it, perhaps self-diagnose themselves if they don't already know who they are, but then they will come back and throw all the terms at you. The things that they are doing to you, they will throw them back at you, saying you're doing to what they're doing, you're doing to them. Think about it. It's like a petulant child. It's like some little kid taking his football home because he doesn't want the other kids to play with it because he wants to go home. That's what the narcissist is. But having said all these things, and I hope you enjoy the video, because I absolutely love doing this one. I love them all, but this one's a really good one for me. Is that you were never supposed to put 2 and 2 together. You were never supposed to deduce this whodunit, this mystery. You weren't supposed to solve it. You were supposed to be left in the cliffhanger of the ending of a movie, which was the length of the relationship with you and the narcissist, and you were not supposed to get closure. You weren't supposed to get all of that body of the relationship's information and substance to give you closure. You weren't supposed to find that key. You were supposed to be left on the cliffhanger And the cliffhanger was where you were supposed to be for the rest of your life until either A, you don't exist anymore, B, you never figure it out, or C, you're blaming yourself and you're craving the narcissist back. One of those things. That is 100% what happens in these relationships. So that is why I share with you so frequently on the channel. If you are in my community, if you subscribe, if you're getting the wisdom, pay it forward, but make sure your cup is full before you assist anybody else. I am mentioning again the airplane mask analogy. You're flying in an airplane at 30,000 feet and somebody's sitting next to you, whoever it is, let's say it's a loved one, then you hit turbulence and the air mask, oxygen mask drops from above. Well, you can't help them out before you help yourself out. You may want to, but it won't serve you. You need to save yourself before you can save and or assist anybody else. And that's exactly what you did post-narcissistic relationship. You have had to heal. You've had to process childhood wounds. You've had to introspect. You've had to have sleepless nights. You had to cry. Perhaps you experienced the anger stage. You had to understand that most of the people that were in your life for that period of time, they're out. They can't be in your life ever again. I'm not saying all of them, but most of them. Perhaps you've had to relocate. Perhaps you've had to start a new job. Perhaps you've had to just start from scratch because the narcissist financially abused you so much that you had to take jobs that you didn't want to do and start all over in a different city, town, country where you don't know anybody. I know what it's like. I get it. The whole point is nobody came to your door and knocked on it and said, hey, I'm here to save you. I'm here to help you out. What they did is they gave you words like this, like, hang in there. You'll be okay. Fall into another relationship. It's fine. It's no big thing. I understand what you're going through. I've been there before. Tough it out. Tomorrow's a new day. Everything will be fine. They said things like that. Now, these people didn't know what you were up against. It's not their fault. But at the same time, they didn't have the bandwidth to sit down with you and have that cup of coffee, did they? No, they didn't. And because they didn't, they're out. That's just the way it works, because people reveal themselves over time. Every single person on the planet reveals themselves in time. When what that means is they will show you their true character. When the chips are down, if they're there for you, then they're a hero. They're a good person. If they're not there for you, they're a coward and a bully, and they don't care about you. They're just simply similar to a narcissist, although perhaps not a narcissist, but they care about themselves. And I'll say this before I close the video. Remember, each and every one of us on the planet faces challenging days. All of us do. Some of us go through the narcissistic relationship. That's a massive challenge. Some of us are the narcissist. Imagine being in the narcissist's head even for 5 minutes. No, I wouldn't want to be there at all. That's a challenge. Imagine people getting sick or health issues or relocating. People have jobs. People have concerns, each and every one of us. And one of your challenges was the narcissistic abusive cycle, but my hope is now you've healed and or you're well on the healing path. Finally, I will say each and every one of us are warriors. Each and every one of us speak the special language. Each and every one of us have been through the fire and or are going through the fire. We speak a separate language, which is narcissistic abuse recovery. It's exactly what it is. So understand, we are all on the healing path, headed in the same direction, simply taking different footsteps. So guys, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew, got bit. From the beautiful Carolinas, this is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon. Stay true, stay blessed. Continue to become awakened and aware, and understand you are the priority. You come first, second, and third. Remember, you weren't supposed to figure them out. They were banking on that from the minute you met them till the minute it ended. And once you figured them out, you got that first light bulb moment, boom, here you are. Continue to invest in yourself, continue to drown out the naysayers, and continue to believe in yourself. If not now, when? Guys, no matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. Remember that you are not alone. I love you all. God bless you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. All right, bye. I got bit.